What is going on, Raidernation? It's your boy Small Raider back at it again with yet another video. And today I wanted to do a quick 3-round mock draft just for you guys and just for the heck of it. I know that the Raiders have won the past couple of games and the Raiders have dropped from 1 down to 6 and now sitting at number 8. And I feel like, you know what? This kind of makes a lot of things interesting because I know when we had the first overall pick, it was obviously going to be a quarterback between Shedeur Sanders and possibly even Cam Ward. But now sitting at number 8, there's so many different possibilities that the Raiders can go in. You know, so many different directions that the Raiders can actually go in, whether they go offensive or defensive. Who are going to get best player available? Maybe we reach on a quarterback in the first round because we missed out on the first two guys. But nonetheless, I just wanted to do something fun and give you guys my thoughts on who I would choose if the Raiders were to draft right now with the 8th pick in the NFL draft. Now, I do want to warn you guys before, I start this mock draft and before you guys judge me, I'm not a professional scouter or anything like that. I'm just a fan that loves to dive into some stats here and there and look at some facts here and there and just look at the positions of needs that the Raiders need and just kind of mess around. I've been doing many mock drafts these past couple of weeks and I've picked so many different players in the first round and it kind of shakes up my whole mock draft. Now, I will say, going into the offseason, I'm going to be doing a lot of mock drafts. So this is basically version 1 of my mock draft. Even though we got one more game left, I thought we'd do something fun and have fun with it. With that said, though, real quick reminder, I'm going into this mock draft thinking that the Raiders will address a quarterback in free agency, bring in a veteran quarterback that could come in. I don't care who it is at this point. We also keep AOC and have AOC most likely be the quarterback, the bridge quarterback going into 2025. And in this scenario, I have the Raiders most likely paying the offensive line and bringing in the best players that we can in free agency. So with all that in mind, let's get started with this mock draft. Now, sitting at number 8 with all the quarterbacks off the board, I had a lot of different decisions. I'll put all the picks that got picked right before us right here so you guys could get like a little feel of where I was thinking. And one player that was still available was Will Johnson. And I really wanted him, but I was like, you know what? What is a quarterback's best friend outside of a wide receiver? I would say is the running back position. I talked about it in yesterday's video. I have the Raiders selecting running back Ashton Jeanty with the 8th overall pick out of Boise State, who could have been the Heisman winner. I just feel like you add a generational running back to this team that already has a generational tight end. You start to build around the quarterback position offensively. I feel like he would be a key addition to the offense and, just helps the quarterback a lot more. I stated in yesterday's video that Aiden O'Connell, if he is to be the guy to start in 2025, you get this guy a solid offensive line and then you get him a running back that could take the load off of him. And, when we do expect him to go out there and throw the ball, he'll feel comfortable to get the job done, especially when he has a back like Ashton Jeanty to back him up. Now, moving on from that, fast forward to the second round with the 40th overall pick, according to PFF, I actually have the Raiders selecting quarterback Jalen Moreau out of Alabama. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of fans out there that doesn't like this pick, that doesn't like Jalen Moreau. I know that there's a lot of flaws there that a lot of people want to bring out, but one reason why I really like Jalen Moreau, I actually started looking into a lot of other quarterbacks outside of the top 2 because looking at the situation that the Raiders are in right now, it only makes sense to look elsewhere. So Jalen Moreau made a lot of sense once I was diving deep and looking into him. Man, you look at Jalen Moreau right now, I believe he has all the tools to be a solid NFL starter for years to come. And it's definitely going to take the right organization to take a chance on him and let him mow. Now, even though I drafted Jalen Moreau right here in the second round, I'm not expecting him to come in and be a starter right away. I feel like he's a prospect that can sit for a year, maybe 2, to kind of build up, get that confidence, and once his time is ready, he's ready to go out there and be that quarterback that I expect him to be. You look at guys that got to sit down a couple of years and go in and just be good quarterbacks. I feel like he can follow in that footsteps, a la, Jalen Hurts. He has all the assets to be someone like a Lamar Jackson. You look at his athleticism, he's a dual threat quarterback that could get it done on the ground and in the air, has that elite speed as a runner/scrambler. You look at the game against LSU, this dude ran for 4 touchdowns. That's a record. And you add that with his arm strength and playmaking ability, man, the sky's the limit for Jalen Moreau. Again, this is only if you don't just force him into the Wolves and expect him to change the organization in 1 year. Now, I understand that his biggest knocks is his inconsistency and his decision making, which causes him to force a lot of throws and cause turnovers. But even with all of that, I feel like the Raiders could take a good chance at Jalen Moreau and possibly see what we can get in him as a future quarterback of this team. Whether you like it or not, I do believe that Jalen Moreau has a bright future in the NFL. The upside is definitely there. Now moving on to the third round with the 71st overall pick, I have the Raiders selecting Sebastian Castro, safety out of Iowa. Now I do believe that the Raiders at this point should at least address the defensive side of the ball, and I feel like in the secondary is where we're going to need some help, whether it's in the cornerback room or the safety room, maybe even the linebacker room. I feel like our defensive line is pretty solid. Hopefully we bring back guys like Caleb Chason and even Malcolm Coons going into free agency. So I feel like the defensive line as general should be solid. But looking at the secondary, I feel like Sebastian Castro is a solid piece right here in this position because he's a guy that's versatile, that could play in the slot, be a strong safety, or even play in the box. He's definitely an explosive player with physical traits and is a physical defender and also a big playmaker. In 2023, he had 8 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. I feel like he just adds to the secondary room. Whether or not the Raiders do bring back Marcus Epps, I do believe that getting a guy like Sebastian Castro in the third round would be some solid depth to the secondary room. Now with the other third round pick that we had, shout out to the Jets and shout out to Devontae Adams with the 72nd overall pick, I have the Raiders selecting Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State. Now I feel like the Raiders, if anything, if we haven't selected a wide receiver up to this point, I feel like this will be a perfect decision for the Raiders because we traded one wide receiver away, so we might as well draft a wide receiver with this pick. Now I know that Royals missed some games in 2024 due to an injury, but he will be back and will be playing in the Senior Bowl. So he's one guy that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on during the Senior Bowl because I believe that he's a guy that can shoot up the draft boards and could be an underrated pick in this year's draft, especially in the wide receiver room. And knowing the Raiders right now, the receiver room isn't really stacked. Of course, Jacoby Myers is going to be the number one guy there. I know that Brock Bowers is also going to be a great other receiving option, but getting another wide receiver to add some depth to this room alongside of guys like DJ Turner, Trey Tucker, and whoever else is out there, I feel like Jalen Royals would be your guy. He's got solid size, standing at 6 feet, 205 pounds, great athleticism. He can go up for those 50-50 vertical balls. He's a guy that could take a short route and turn it into a big gain. Adding him to this wide receiver room, I just think would give that boost for this offense moving forward. And I feel like Jalen Royals does have all the traits to be a really good wide receiver in the league. If anything, he'd be a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. But just like everybody else on this list, he has a high ceiling and has all the right traits to be a wide receiver 1 if everything goes right. Now, he isn't perfect, but at the end of the day, I feel like you can't go wrong with a lot of the wide receivers that's in this draft class because there's a lot of receivers with a lot of potential. So you might as well pick your poison, and Jalen Royals was just that guy for me. With all that being said, though, Raider Nation, I did want to do this quick 3-round mock draft because PFF are being hosed. They charging for the rest of the rounds, but I just want to do something real quick. I know I want to do a full 7-round mock draft when the season is over, but as of right now, I just wanted to have fun with it. Let me know what you guys think about this mock draft. Who would you guys pick? Did I make the wrong decision on some of them? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next one, this is your boy, Some More Raider, and your boy is, yeah.